Welcome to episode 8 of the Global Exclusive Podcast. I'm your host, Hazard. Joining me as always this week is Bharos.
Oh shit, again I forgot. I'm sorry.
Cotton-Sea.
Wait, is it episode 8, not episode 10? I keep getting confused.
Dream Blitz.
Yeah, whatever, let's just get on with it.
Muspel.
I pulled Rikku on the first step.
Oh, fuck you! Jesus!
And Shadow Walker.
I think Riku's overrated.
See, someone who understands me finally. Thank you.
And this week we are sponsored by someone who Dream actually got. So Dream, take it away.
This week's sponsor of the Global Exclusive Podcast is Spheres. Spheres, for all of your needs. Need to change clothes? Sphere. Sports? Big old Sphere. Vlogging? We've got a Sphere for it. You can even use Sphere-based weapons to take down Sphere-based monsters. Spheres, child-proofing your world since the beginning of time. That was bad.
Oh, crap.
Perfect. Would you say that skipping this banner was painless?
I just got another rainbow.
Oh my... What the actual fuck?
Who takes a break from Item World by running more Item World? I'm so confused.
Which Spheres, like, the world isn't square, right?
The world's flat, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the world's flat. That's the one exception.
I was actually laughing the whole time, but I didn't have my mic on.
Oh, but that's excellent, because now we're doing the new recording, it's gonna show.
Oh, crap.
Perfect.
So this week we've got yet another Final Fantasy X banner. This one is Final Fantasy X-2, the much-awaited Rikku, Yuna, and Paine. I would say much awaited only for Rikku. Yuna and Paine are kind of not as hyped up, I would say, as Rikku, but we can get right into Yuna. She is a gunner this time instead of a healer, which is pretty fun.
And she's also the only rainbow I got on banner, so fuck her.
I would.
Did you?
Whoa, listen. Keep it PG, okay?
Oh god.
Wait, aren't we rated explicit?
I got a rare. I got an Item World rare.
Oh, this is already such a mess.
Oh, you know what? I just have to say something while we're on the Item World topic. So I did my enormous ass grind for the Madame Edelgun yesterday.
I'm sorry.
It took all day. Okay, not all day, but it took like 3 hours. Jesus.
See, this is why I think Madame Adele is a bad unit. Nobody wants to do Ancient Ruins.
Yeah, I did the first level of Ancient Ruins, and I gave up, and I decided not to use Edel Pier. Like, she's just sitting there.
I did the first 2, but I don't ever want to go back.
At least Ancient Runes has better story than Season 3, alright?
Yes,
Let's all
I
agree on
100% agree. No, but the thing is, it actually is decent. I still want to say that the Madame Edel story, the story event that we just had, as well as the actual ruins, is some of the best story content in the game. But my mistake was doing all of it at once, because like I just really wanted the gun so I can run it through Item World. So I was really trying to grind through it. But if I had enjoyed it on release, every time it was released, and I really regret not doing it, it would have actually been very enjoyable.
Welcome back to episode 5, part 2, I guess.
Like 10 part 2.
It was just a rant. I just wanted to mention it because I also suffered a bit. But it was good. It was good. I still very much like the whole Edel story.
So anyways, Yuna.
Yes.
I mean, since we're on the topic of Item World, you want to know what's my one and only rare this Item World? I'm Draco Spike. A freaking Draco Spike.
Huh.
See,
Listen,
that was
as-
the first mistake.
As
That
I
was-
told you, this is your fault because you're running Draco Spike in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I took a break from running Asura's Rod just so I could get some extra stats on Draco Spike since I use it for all dragon killing bosses. And on my first run on that, I get a rare. A freaking rare on that.
Who takes a break from Item World by running more Item World? I'm so confused.
No. I've done the same. Okay, Cotton, I understand you. I've done the exactly same thing.
Do you guys ever go back with weapons? Because like once I do a weapon enough, I just get tired of doing that weapon and go to a different weapon that hasn't.
Oh,
been
yeah,
leveled.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I have like 25 or more of that stat, I probably won't run it, even if I want the rare. Edelgun was, the Madame Adele gun was the only exception, basically.
See, here I am still trying to get more than 25 magic on Asura Rod. Like, Just now I just got 25 defense. Why?
I would really prioritize HP for mages, just because it's
Yeah.
such a pain to gear them for otherwise.
Yeah, but like I get defense instead of HP or magic.
Well, they also
Defense.
have low defensive stats.
Defense isn't terrible. Defense and SPR are a lot worse than HP, but I don't know. I feel like mages have such an easy time getting Mage, but getting any kind of defensive stats can be an uphill climb. So
Not on my Asura Rod.
So Yuna, Shadow, what did you want to do to her?
What? Sorry.
Nothing. Okay, nothing.
I'm
Nothing.
I'm speechless about that still.
Why? I just replied to Bharos' statement. So
Yeah, I don't know, Shadow, you're a terrible person. It's like I have nothing else to say.
it is well known, but I do think that Yuna as a unit is quite underwhelming. She did get global exclusive buffs. Her modifiers were basically increased. She didn't get any passive change, and her innate issue is still with the fact that she has 4 elements rather, and no imperils on her, which impedes her greatly for all the rankings that happens around. And the other fact is that her other proposed rotation was her LB rotation is also kind of bleh. So she's just, I don't know what to say about it.
if you can get her a
Bleh.
good external imperil, she's actually pretty competitive with the top damage dealers right now. And she has a bit of utility. She can mirage herself. She can do AoE re-raise, and she can also, she can buff mitigation by 30%, but I don't think that matters much typically. So she's not a bad unit, but I think we say this almost every week. She's not really worth chasing.
Yeah, and I
Damage
feel
dealers
like
almost
that
never are.
that's being repeated every time we get a damage dealer, except Madame Needle. It's like, yeah, they're okay, they're not bad. It's just, why would you ever chase?
Yeah, I feel like if you skipped previous banners with damage dealers, there's no reason that you would pull on this one unless you're a huge fan of X2 and just have to have them. But I feel like if you're the kind of person who has to have units that are from their favorite Final Fantasy games, this game is going to break your wallet.
Yeah, okay, first of all, what I think is shameless is that it is obvious, especially if you look at, so we got buffs on these units, but especially if you look at the banner in JP, it's incredibly shameless and obvious that Paine and Yuna are the troll rainbows of this banner. Like, they're only meant to dilute the pool so you pull more, and that hurts.
Even look at their Trust Mastery rewards. For all 3 of the banner units, they're just bad. Really, really bad. Like, even Paine doesn't want her SDMR. Like, why design something like
Paine's TM looks like a shitty event item.
all of their TMs look like shitty event items?
Yeah.
Yuna's got 50% light and dark resist with 40% attack. Like, there's some uses for that for sure.
Yuna's is better than an event item. It's not great, but it's not as bad as Paine's. Paine's is a joke.
Like, Paine, you literally want to skip her own TMR in her...
And SDMR.
And her STMR to build her. Because even her TMR ability is like, what, a 40% attack increase and LB gauge fill rate? So it's like, you don't lose out too much. You could definitely fill that out on other methods.
And her STMR is one-handed, right?
Yeah, the weird-ass formula for some reason.
Well, I guess the nice thing is if you do want Rikku, you get a guarantee at 37k. If you pull once on each of those step-ups, you get the unit from the ticket at the end of the 25k, and you can get the prism to the 12k one.
Yeah.
And that comes a question like, why would people even bother chasing Yuna or Paine, like, when the banner is so skewed towards getting one part?
You're probably just going to end up shittering something like Bharos and hating for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I wasn't sad in that sense. I always like getting a unit because it's fun and, like, who knows if I get something fun. But this time I was actually chasing, I don't know how many I did. Yeah, I only did 2 steps of the cheap step up. And then I sunk 30 tickets. I didn't really do that much, so it's perfectly okay. I did get my 3rd Dark Fina, so that was really nice. The new Fina.
I wasn't gonna pull, but I ended up putting like 35 tickets in. I just couldn't stop, and all I got for my troubles was a Shadow Lord STMR, which is only like my 3rd strongest elementless one-handed sword.
Yikes.
But the Shadow Lord STMR is a tank weapon. That's what you've missed.
It has 20% HP on it, which is
Better
really
tank
nice.
weapon options than 20% HP.
I think it's actually probably decent for damage dealers because of the HP. But it's not really an STMR to get excited about.
No, because also like Dark Ragnarok's coming.
Yeah, I used it successfully once on a Machina, I think, that was dual wielding it to actually get some decent stats. Dual wielding with Onion Knight Refias STMR. Those two together, like, decent stats.
I actually did forget that Shadowlord's SCMR. Like, I have one I've never used.
Yeah, it's like it's forgettable, like a lot of these one-handed elemental STMRs, because we just have so many of them for every weapon type. It feels like there's like 4 or 5 of them, and they have very few different times.
Forgettable, kind of like Yuna.
Yeah, like we forgot about her 2 seconds into the topic. Like
several times.
Yeah, I was gonna talk more about her, and then you guys kept going on about like different STRs.
But to be honest, like what else is there to say about Yuna? Like we've covered everything.
The sad thing is, as boring as Yuna is, she's still more interesting than Paine.
Ah, yes, Paine is.
Yeah. I was gonna say that whatever we said about Yuna is also easily applicable to Paine.
I'm gonna say some things about Paine that nobody can possibly argue. Paine is a unit that was released on Thursday. She deals damage. She has TDH passive. She doesn't have an imperil. That's pretty much all there is to say.
Thank you for coming to our tip.
I mean, like Yuna, her damage is okay if you give her an external imperil. If you give her 100% external imperil, she's probably roughly on par with the top tier units, maybe a little bit behind. But she doesn't have any real utility.
The only thing I want to add to that is that Sword Dance doesn't really chain manual, but from what I can gather, if you spark chain it, it works.
Get good.
So if you're a get good type player, I mean, she could deal lots of, but that's about it.
I mean, like the modifier isn't even that special on it compared to her other stuff. Like I think Sentinel fully stacked is actually like half a mod higher. You just don't have the stack up time.
Yeah.
And in that one turn that the duration falls off of the mod boost, it's a bit stronger, but it's like you're not even getting much out of it for that extra challenge.
So would you say that...
Oh no,
I was just gonna say that.
No.
I know what you guys are gonna do.
No.
Wait, what? You know? How do you
know?
know?
To use Paine?
Ah, god damn it, Cotton, why did you steal my joke? This is unfair. I was gonna say, would you say it was a pain to rate her? Okay, but close.
No, she's quite
easy. It's a pain to use Paine, and it's a pain to rate her. Am I missing anything else?
It's painful to pull her.
If you like these units, they're good enough to use. I mean, go for it. Decent. You know, it's not a terrible investment if you end up getting Rikku as well, but you know, every damage dealer banner is pretty much the same except for a few exceptions. It's a pull if you like the unit, otherwise keep going. Skip it again.
Would you say that skipping this banner was painless?
I am physically hurt right now.
No, that was actually a decent joke.
Was it though?
Because you don't get any pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Bharos, how are you feeling about Muspels?
Yeah, okay, like, wow, you're such a piece of shit. I'm just gonna say that outright, because like...
If it makes you feel better, I spent like 10 tickets before that.
Yeah, but still...
Only 10.
Yeah. I'm here debating if I should buy more Lapis, but I won't, because like it's too... I mean, I really don't need Rikku. It would be nice to have her, because it would be nice to compress the Mirage... Oh, sorry, I'm actually on Rikku now. Let's talk about Rikku.
Yeah, let's talk about Rikku. Why is she a unit that people want to pull?
Well, for me, I'd like to pull her just because I want a strong breaker that can Mirage in the same role. That's so nice.
So you mean you want Lock?
Yeah, I have Lock.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need her, like...
No, I know. That's what I said. I don't really need her, but yeah.
So Rikku is sort of... She combines some of the best parts of Locke and Fid, and I guess technically Kryla too, although not really. Because she's got Mirage, which Locke has. She has AoE Re-Raise, which Fid has. She has an AoE Imbue. Fid has it. She has LB Fill. And both Fid and Kryla have that. And she also has really strong spammable breaks at 75%. And the ability to just spam those breaks and Mirage every single turn is really nice on a lot of fights, especially when you look at your trials. And then she's also got 80% breaks on her LB if you don't need the Mirage.
Like the fact that she has innate 75% spammable breaks in it really means that you're not relying on her limit break at all.
Yeah, which is very nice.
Which is quite scary.
Yeah, and the cooldown as well. You can like save for when you actually need the AoE re-raise on it.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
Yeah, Fid you pretty much have to use cooldown on turn 1 unless you're using Sylvie or something.
I mean, like with most breakers, you actually have to use that cooldown on turn 1 and then rely on their limit break for their actually decent break. Or an unlock in the case of Kryla. Rikku's on-demand breaks are already more than strong enough from all the current trials. Like, that's the next level of breaker power.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also very nice that she can always live through this spell, especially if they are like RNG based, because you don't have to rely on her having her LB up. You can just spam her breaks and they're still incredibly strong. So
yeah, she's not incredibly interesting, but she brings a lot to the table and she's very easy to use. So if you need a breaker, definitely pulling for her could definitely be a good idea, although with 2 other units on the banner that aren't that great, maybe think hard if you don't have much Lapis. And
There is.
no, go ahead. I didn't really know where I was going.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say that she's a great breaker. I'm not gonna deny that. And I opened with like that she's overrated. I'm only saying that she's overrated. We already have 2 really good break with Fit and Kryla, and I don't think Rikku is that much of an swarmer, especially.
I think the main selling point for her is that there's still very, very fits in GL that have Mirage that are actually full aside from Mirage. There's Locke, there's Xuan, there's Fu, and that's about it. A lot of the other units. Yeah, good point, Sylvando. Yeah, a lot of them are limited. A lot of them are... But aside from those ones, all the other Mirage bots that I can think of are just like really, really useless aside from Mirage, or at least mostly useless. Like there's Rivera, who has Mirage, and then she's like a really shitty tank or a really bad healer on top of that.
Yeah, Aiden tier healer. But also, there is one unit that would have been really good unless it was immediately fucked over by the power creep. But actually, Red 13 has a Mirage that they can multicast.
There's
and
actually
Shadow,
there's a bunch of Stardust Raid Chainers that have it. There's Yuffie, there's Red 13, there's Shadow, and maybe that's it. But yeah, they released a few of them pretty close together, I feel.
Unfortunately, none of their damage is really up to par when we start going into the meta.
Yeah.
Especially as using that Mirage turn cuts into the damage a lot.
I mean, it basically halves it, right?
Cuts it by about a third. For most of them, it cuts it by a third because they have T-cast. Okay. I think Shadow only has W-cast, though.
Well, actually, to Shadow's point, it's harder. I was saying this on the other day that the difference between a damage dealer a year from now to now is massive in the amounts of damage. Like you literally can't use many of the damage dealers that were released a year ago and haven't been enhanced for the current trials. They're just too slow, especially with these new requirements to complete things 20 or 15 turns. But with breakers, it's really hard to differentiate. You kind of have to focus on the nuances. 2B, even Knight Delita, like they have 74% breaks. They've got some downsides, but you can use them. Lauren, you can use. But Rikku, what she brings is really nice because the spammable 75% AoE breaks that she can W cast. She's got a couple different options for 80% breaks, and she can also support chain while doing Mirage. Like it's a pretty decent upgrade in terms of the power creep of breakers in general.
Can we talk for a second about how you implied that Knight Delita was as good as Lauren?
Yeah, I was also thinking about that. Like, did you try to sneak that in, Hazard? Seriously.
I didn't say there was good. I'm saying that you can still use Knight Delita as a serviceable breaker today with a little bit of support. Like, he still has 74% breaks, which is basically has been the standard for breakers since the 7-star era started.
I get what you're pointing at, especially because when this is a while back already, but when we were doing the Vengeful trials, especially for our Armageddon and for the Lantern, we needed to do it for 25 different units, and one of the things that I did was I went through back and used their breaker, and it turned out those guys were the easiest to find. Like I couldn't go back and use my old DPS like Orlando. Like Orlando's going to be useless, but still I could bring back 2B Lauren and what you mentioned, Knight Delita. Like I actually used Knight Delita in one of the clears, and it worked out. So it's true that breakers actually last a really long time.
And that's a good thing. It's hard to creep breaks.
To be fair, the breaker requirements for the Vengeance trials are a lot lower.
But you can still use them. I could use Knight Delita today if I really wanted to.
And you know what?
And I probably will.
While we're talking about breaker creep, so we still know that 70% breaks are going to be more than just fine for all the upcoming trials to this day in JP. But I want to say that if we're talking about breaker creep, the real breaker creep was Edgar. Because what he creeps is the OTK ability. Because his breaks actually make you do these crazy strats where you can do a one-turn kill on some bosses that you might not be able to reach with a lower break.
Is it just because he has higher breaks than 89%? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
I don't entirely agree with that.
84.
The damage gap between small break differences like that is actually really minor. It's even smaller than the gap from damage done with differences in attack and match breaks. And if you really cared that much about damage, you would probably, I don't even know how you pronounce her name, Sieghart's sister, Dietland?
Diet Linda.
Dietland, yeah.
Nah, I'm just not getting into this. I'm staying out of it.
We talked about that one before. It's a tough name, but
Dietland.
Dietland.
Yeah, Meme Lord is going to be so sad about our pronunciations right now.
I want to talk about Edgar just for a second if we're on the topic. I don't think defense and SPR breaks, or offensive breaks, what we call them, aren't as big of a deal, especially in the terms of like what you said, OTK strategies. How many trials actually can be fully broken? Most of them are only attacks and mag broke.
Yeah, no,
So,
but I'm just saying, like, since you can take Lauren to a trial 6 months from now, and she's still going to be a great breaker. But the big difference here is that Edgar can, on the trials that are actually Death Spirit breakable, actually enable an OTK that you couldn't have enabled without him.
I would say one of the main areas that like a lot of the older breakers suffer in and like aren't become not so usable is when like dispel is required, either you removing bosses or effects from the bosses, or the bosses removing their own effects, because a lot of those old ones are restricted to basically like cooldown and limit burst for their strong ones, and can only reapply every like 3, maybe 2 turns.
this is Beowulf's music.
So I just checked the damage gap between a 75% defense break and an 84% defense break is about 12% damage.
I mean, that's still significant enough if you're going for the OTK.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for longer trials, it's not a major difference, but
how many trials are so hard to OTK that you're only like that you can do it, but you're like 12% short? I feel like that doesn't really happen. There's bosses are either way too tanky or they're easy.
Yeah, I would say Shinryu is a good example, to be honest.
well, there's been some talking about Shinryu, which just came out this week and has been power crept already to crap. But there's been a couple one turn KO kills, and I've seen Edgar in a lot of those parties.
And that's great. It's just for practical purposes, I don't see Edgar as a real power creep in Breakers, and I think the last power creep we've seen in Breakers is actually Fid. We're still at that point until we get to like the new Machina that JP got. Like that's probably our next big breaker power creep, and before that, I really think that we're like level in terms of breaker power creep. Good. I think.
So ultimately on this banner, if you really don't need Rikku, it's more of a nostalgia thing. She is a slight creep in the breaker power creep, but as we've been saying, the power creep on there lasts a long, long time. Your breakers are still good for a long, long time. So
yeah,
no pressure.
Yeah. I would say the main incentive to pull for her would be if you don't have a good breaker, by which I mean you don't have somebody that can do good breaks on turn 1 or can't handle AoE breaks or whatever. Just the kind of unit where they're not going to work on some fights. Like, just not work at all. Or if you don't have any good units with Mirage.
Yeah,
in that case, it could be worth pulling.
Here.
But it's still a terrible banner to pull on, though. That's also...
There is the bad luck protection with the 37k, but 37k is still a lot of Lapis. And if you don't have that much, it's not much consolation.
Yeah, I honestly think Mirage, having the Mirage on a otherwise really incredible unit is the main selling point for Rikku.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, speaking of breaker power creep, I just realized we missed the actual big breaker power creep, which is Elephant. We never got her.
I mean, like in GL, Elephant isn't really a power creep. She's more of a side grade, actually.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like in JP, she was an amazing creep, right? She could do really strong buffs and breaks on turn 1. It's like stupid.
Only reason Elephant was so powerful was not just because of her buffs, but because she reapplied her breaks every turn, which is important. But we already got Kryla like 6 months ago who does that. So I think in a sense, GL's already experienced that part of the Holy Grail that when Elephant comes out, it won't feel like a power creep, but rather like a side creep.
GL also has more units that can buff and do other roles at the same time at this point. Like we have Cecil, we have Chin, we have Myra, and the fact that Elephant combined buffs and breaks was a big deal because a lot of team comps might not have buffs without her, but GL isn't really at that point anymore.
Well, and I think that we've been seeing with global enhancements with Ramza, the original Ramza, he power creeped JP a lot, but you've seen with global is they will wait and give them enhancements that bring them up to the meta, but don't break the meta. At least, from what I can remember, I haven't seen a meta breaking enhancement yet, at least not for a while.
Yeah. I mean, they do try to be more... The enhancement guy is definitely a lot more aware of the meta than the people that actually design the units. So I think that's generally true.
I hate the people who design the units sometimes. Like, they just do some mind-boggling things to me. An enhancement guy has to fix it.
For example, Yuna and Paine, like the original Yuna and Paine.
But they're fine. Like, they're not amazing, but they're serviceable, which is fine. Like, you can release a bunch of serviceable. You don't have to power creep all the time. You can just release units that are good, good and different and unique. But some of the things like turn durations on cooldowns, like, there's some things that I know that just kind of make me question a little bit. Anyways, so we can talk about Shiryu if we want. We can finally talk about Shiryu, even though we opened the topic 10 minutes ago. This one was, as I said, kind of been power crept. It got released in global a lot later in the timeline and I'm wondering if any of you guys struggled with it or how that affected your clears.
Can I just say, what do you guys think about this preemptive attack that you need to be immune for? Bullshit.
You want to talk about bullshit?
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said bullshit because I'm directing the conversation. What do you think about it?
It doesn't bother me that much. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I would say this preemptive isn't that bad because it's just 100% resist to one element on everyone, which is all right. Something like Icebird's preemptive, now that is bullshit.
Yeah, that's true.
This one's just like Omega.
You also don't necessarily need it on everyone. The turn limit here isn't that bad. Part of that is because it's power crept, but if your damage dealers die, it's not a big deal. And after that preemptive, you can just cover it.
Yeah.
I actually completely forgot about the preemptive, and both of my chainers... Actually, my chainers lived. My Cecil died, but I was fine, because I just...
Yeah, so long your support units actually survive through that preemptive is alright.
Yeah, as long as your healer survives. That's the only...
Your healer, your breaker, and probably your tanks. As long as they survive, you're fine.
And I see it like this. I actually think the exercise itself is a lot of fun, where you're forced to kind of include bulk in your units and in your team build, and you try to see, can I build a team that's strong enough to survive this preemptive so I can recover from it? That's actually pretty cool. The painful part about it is that nobody fucking gears their friend units for water resist.
Well, to be honest, that's, I think, a strategy you can take is screw the preemptive. It doesn't matter if I die for one turn. I'll just get up and I never have to deal with water again because I have a tank.
No, I know. And that's what I had to do in the end because I couldn't find any friend units, Madame Edels, that had water resist. So I just had to go in and let her die.
Good for them. They have 200 IQ of not doing water resist.
But that is a very viable strategy. Like, you raise them on turn 1. Because, like, for some units, the 100% water resist sacrifices quite a lot.
Yeah, but not for Edel. That was exactly my point that I wanted to make. Because I could make an Edel that was basically as strong as my DPS Edel. Okay, so I do have... but I do have the STMR from that weird Duke. So I do have his STMR, so I do get some killers. But I could actually basically make an as strong Edel. So she really didn't lose that much for gearing. And it just feels weird to have to raise her turn 1.
Bharos, I thought you always kept going on about how Edel sucked at gearing for
Well, not for water resist. That's a different thing, I guess, because I have the Luneth STMR, and then you can... Yeah, okay, I'm not going to go into gear now. But you can gear her quite easily for 90% water resist, which is actually enough. She won't die from 90%.
I didn't gear for any water resist, and my chainer survived, but...
What did you use?
You use Shen Wu. Okay, that is cheating.
Swen, yes.
That is cheating.
The preemptive happened, and my team started taking damage, and I was like, oh, right, that's a thing. Well, I'm sure everybody will be fine but the chainers. And then Cecil died, and Shuan survived.
I'm still going to say I think Shuan is a stupid-ass unit, and it should have never been added to the game. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's a great unit.
I agree,
but it's shit.
I don't care either way. I mean, they can release whoever they want. I just think limited units in general are a bad idea. But it's funny. I think the first time I've ever heard of Cecil dying.
Yeah, it surprised me. He might have had negative water resist. I don't know. I would have to recheck what his gear was. But
intentionally made him take a bit more.
It's funny you're mentioning Cecil as well, because previously Muspel had this rant where he was like, oh yeah, we in GL have got many units. We have Cecil. We have Myra. And then he said like 4 more units that I don't have. And I felt really bad.
Maybe you should have pulled for Cecil. I mean, I know you like to pull on limited banners, and he wasn't limited, but if you had just spent some lapis or tickets chasing him.
Yeah. It's like I'm actually crying. This is a podcast. You can't see it, but I'm crying.
It's okay.
But no, speaking of Cecil and dying or not dying, on my first attempt of it, just quite casually, I sort of wasn't really looking at turn durations and stuff, and ended up having the first roulette enrage him, and then that also land on turn 6 when he was below 50%. So I took an Almagest and 2 Shinryu tails on the same turn, and it wiped everyone. And then Cecil took some claws as well, and he still lived on 1. And then I wiped the next turn.
Yeah.
I went in blind on this trial, except I had heard that you needed preemptive water resist. But my support units are honestly just geared for 100 or as close to it as possible anyway. So I used Madame Adele and with her gun, and it was amazing. She did it, I think, in like 8 or 9 turns, and had a bunch of bad RNG luck where they got killed, and the roulette thing. But it was a really fun trial. Like I kind of like the RNG in this one because it just forces you to deal with mechanics that sometimes you can avoid. If it's not RNG, you can just plan for the mechanic, but you can't plan for this one quite as well because one of your units is just going to die, or maybe Shinryu gets enraged.
Yeah, okay. So I technically agree with you because I actually think it's fun that we have some mechanics where we're forced to recover. I like that. Like, hey, you need to solve this problem where one of your chainers died or your healer died. But what I don't like about the RNG here is that it can still land on your tank, and if it lands on your tank on the wrong turn, it will wipe you the turn after. Because you can't re-raise your tanks, you're going to have to raise your tank. You're going to be without cover.
Exactly.
I think there's ways around it, though.
There's still ways around it, right? If you have re-raise before the turn, it doesn't dispel you.
It does.
It does. It dispels you.
Yeah.
It kills
does.
Yeah, dispel plus unresisted.
So if it happens on the turn before it does a massive AoE, you're just going to die. Like that's unfortunately it.
Well,
in practice, you probably want 2 tanks who can cover magic. I personally didn't do it that way. I had 2 tanks. I think my Cecil probably would have died if he had covered magic. He didn't have the resists. But it's one way to handle it.
Why wouldn't you get your Cecil for resist though? Why?
Because AI Katie was covering.
Well, anyways, I think another way you can survive it is, what's your magic tank doing is covering elemental damage. So bring a buffer of those elements, or gear your support units and healers for those resists. So in the case that your tank eats it, then you're not screwed, because as long as DPS can take a dirt nap as long as you need. As long as your support units are up, you'll be able to survive.
Yeah, or you could use like an emergency cooldown. Like if you had Cecil solo tanking it, you could use cooldown the turn before you push the turn before he uses roulette, and that way even if Cecil dies, your whole team has 75% magic. Because that thing lasts 2 turns, right?
All I know is I was getting roulette on me every single turn. I think it was because I was crossing multiple thresholds at a time.
Yeah,
but there was always someone dead in my party.
They sort of queue up.
I actually, I did I did a normal fast run. I think I was done by 5 turns, and then I still had to have an Edel that died turn 1 because, again, nobody gears for water resist, which really sucked. But I actually had super much luck with my RNG, I guess. They did hit my Charlotte once, but it didn't hit her on the important turn. So I had enough time to re-raise or just raise her and get back up. So it was decent. I like the fact that I had to recover.
Yeah, I think the RNG on this fight ended up being interesting instead of annoying because of the way that the fight is designed. Because aside from roulette, Shinryu doesn't really do a whole lot that's all that dangerous. Like, he hits hard, but he's not killing random units aside from that threshold. He's not applying AoE stop or charm that you have to buff ins for or anything like that. He's basically just dealing damage.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sad he was crept, because I think this would have been a much more fun trial if it was released on time, because I can really see myself enjoying this to like 15 turns where you keep getting these roulettes and oh no, now it killed this unit to try to recover.
Just go back in time, only use the units that were available at that time in the gear.
Now I'm going to use Knight Delita and Ramsat chaining.
It can work. I've done it.
Of course you have.
That's horrifying.
No one's surprised.
I mean, I gotta represent.
Although, to be honest, I like that interaction. I like when they do those little things where 2 series units actually do have some type of chaining or interaction with one another.
Speaking of exclusive to certain units, the Living of Spira Plus materia, I was really excited to craft this week, and I grinded it out, and actually the non-plus version, and then went to put it on my Madame Adele, and only then realized that it's only available for Final Fantasy X units. It doesn't say that anywhere except the wiki.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing. Like, really? You couldn't just give that to all of us? Why is that an exclusive item?
To be fair, it's like one of the best materia in the game.
Yeah, it is really strong.
If you don't have Chocobo Adventure.
I mean,
Well, it's an upgrade to Chocobo Adventure directly.
Because it gives
If
you
you don't have
HP.
Noctis as the, you don't have an army of Noctises.
it's better than Noctis.
That's not entirely true. Noctis's STM
Well,
arc
unless you need to resist, but it's Noctis is 20% all stats. This is 30% all stats and some LB fill rate.
Yeah, it's way up
It's
there
good.
though. It's incredible. The problem is that a lot of the units that can use it just aren't that good.
Yeah.
But there's still a couple good ones. Like it's great for Titus. It's great for
Lulu.
But yeah,
Lulu, Unalesca.
yeah.
I just don't. They should have said that before I grinded it.
Yeah, you know what they should have also said before? They should have said that the Valentine's banner was limited. They should have said that before.
Well, they did. Like, it's not my fault no one reads it, right?
Something that they actually did do this week is they revamped the daily quests. And I wanted to talk about that because before today, I was ready to go on a rant about how this improvement was no improvement at all. But they did add an extra 50 lapis on the weekend quests, which I think puts it safely ahead of where it was before.
To be fair, it's possible that on Sunday it'll give like a moot or something instead of 50 lapis. I don't know, but
I guess we have to wait.
Even if it's just 50 lapis on Saturday, that's still like what 400 lapis a week.
Yeah, it's 64 per day average, slightly higher.
Yeah,
And the old one
slightly
was
higher.
50 to 65, so yeah, I don't think
And I'm just gonna say, I like this system a lot. I like the fact that I am getting coins for my dailies. I like the fact that I have an incentive to do more dailies than I need to. But one thing I think they should add, and it's a shame they haven't, they should add like super expensive rewards to the daily coin shop. Like there should be a 5-star EX ticket that costs, I don't know, like 3 months of dailies. I don't care. Like it can be ridiculously expensive, but it can be like a goal that you're working towards.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to hoard these anyway.
Yeah, I think we're all going to hoard these anyways, hoping for something big later on.
I hope not. Well, so you get 104 a week total if you do every quest. And that would buy you an EX ticket, which costs 70. It would get you an expansion ticket, which costs 30. And then you have your choice of one of the other items, basically, with one left over. So that's every week you can get that.
I actually don't like some of those missions. Like they,
Oh, no.
there's
The missions where you have to do 3 missions in the world, I hate it because I have to run Earth Shrine 3 times a day.
exactly. I absolutely hate that one. I wish they would change that one up. Like maybe do something that an average player would do on a daily basis.
What
Like, if
I
you
do
did
with that one is I just don't clear out the story updates when they come out. I just do it a bit at a time with that.
But you're missing
3 missions in the
lapis.
I'm not missing it. I'm just delaying it.
Terrible idea.
But there's so much they can do with daily quests, though. Like because most of the time, daily quests are there for getting veteran players to do something on dead weeks or at times where they have nothing to do. Why aren't they not letting us relive some of the boss battles from the story? Why is not why is not a daily quest finish the first battle against Veritas of the Wind? I mean, sure, you're gonna hit it. I mean, with a 7-star unit, auto attack it.
Yeah, I am going to hate it already by the sound of it.
Okay. I guess.
So I hang on. I just used a ticket on the Yuna banner and I got a rainbow. I wonder.
Oh,
who it is.
motherfucker! If it is Rikku, I will.
Is it?
Oh, it's Shadow.
It was Shadow?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, listen, since you're pulling, I'm gonna pull too.
Well, I can use my 60k Mog King rainbow ticket, so I'll do that now.
Actually, if you give me a second, I am going to.
I just
Hold
want to
on.
see if I can tilt out Bharos.
Can I just finish the topic on daily?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking, like, this system actually opens up for new types of daily missions where it's like, instead of just, dumb things like clear vortex mission, what if it's like, oh, kill Gilgamesh again and get 5 coins instead of 1? I feel like they could make this a lot more interesting, and I know it's just the beginning. So hopefully they expand upon this where more veterans could get more coins in one day. Because I just refuse to do the 3 world events. Like, I'm not going to Earth Shrine 3 times a day. I'm not going to do that. So
I mean, depending which Gilgamesh you're talking about. Like, if you're talking about the Scorn of Gilgamesh, like, no way, man, no way.
I don't want most trial systems. Maybe if it was like a weekly or a monthly quest.
And maybe it's the Sunday, like the Sunday quest could be this old trial with only FF10 units, for instance. That would be pretty.
That would be miserable.
Well, they could do that outside of the daily quest. Like, they could do that as a separate kind of mechanic, a separate event that they add. By the way, we haven't had an old event rerun in a long, long time.
That's true.
that's true.
So are we doing this pulling thing or not? Because I'm ready to pull on this banner and shitter a Rikku, okay?
Are we gonna talk about Omniprism, or are we just?
We can talk about Omniprism after pulling.
We can briefly.
So,
pull.
Dream, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. I already just did mine, and I got my first Madam Edel.
Whoa!
So,
well, congratulations.
Whoa,
Well,
good.
that's a nice pull.
Now I just
Yeah,
need
congrats.
a second one.
Or use a UOC.
I just got another rainbow.
Oh my! What the actual fuck? Muspel, come on.
Livid Shantato.
Whew. Okay. You deserve that, asshole.
I just bought the Omniprism bundle, so I'll do the Omniprism pull then.
Ooh, nice. All right, so I'm gonna pull. I'm just gonna do one 500 lapis pull on the Rikku banner, okay? Because I feel the luck.
Oh God!
I feel. Okay, shut up. I'm doing it.
I think I see why you have such terrible luck.
Okay, it's not a rainbow. Fuck you all.
Okay, I'm gonna do my premium 10 plus one. Okay. All right, here's my first one from the Omniprism bundle. No rainbows.
Normal.
Cool. 11 yellows. All right, one more 10 plus.
Like if you get Rikku,
pull a Rikku, just so we can see Bharos explode.
I hate it. How come all of you have this?
Another 11 yellows. Wow.
Okay, so what you have to do with the 2 tickets is you have to pull Cecil and Rikku.
Okay. All right, here comes the 5-star ticket.
All right, drum roll.
If I get Rikku from this, oh man.
No, please don't. Like I can't live with the fact that I have shit luck.
Kimono Fina. Okay, that's my 7th kimono.
Oof, that's tough. Sorry to hear that.
Okay, and here's my second
Bharos
rainbow.
is just so happy and.
No, I'm not really. Like I love when people have good luck. I just hate when I don't.
Oh, it's the 3rd Cecil.
Oh, not bad. And I mean, you got a Cecil, so that does hurt a bit in my soul. It does.
I feel like pulling Cecil doesn't mean much because everybody has him by now.
Yeah, if you don't have Cecil, you're probably not a real player.
Again, listen, Muspel, karma is going to catch up to you. Okay, you're gonna start like pulling only shit units. You're gonna be the lemon of the next banner.
I already got all the bad karma this year on the fucking Foo banner.
Well, it serves you right for pulling on that banner in the first place.
I had to spend like 70k lapis to get 1 copy of.
Okay, that's actually pretty bad. My condolences.
Like, why are you pulling on Fu in the first place, though? Like, why?
Fu is a great unit, though.
I wanted him for the Mirage and the breaks and the mitigation.
I mean, I fully understand going for Fu. I do.
Muspel, have you been reading your own unit reviews?
Like, as someone wrote in the unit review on Reddit, Fu is a great unit.
Someone very knowledgeable and handsome wrote. Who could it be?
So okay. I need your advice on something. Okay, so I have Edel's gun, and currently I have 29 attack on that gun. Like that's all I've gotten. I have gotten shit rolls. Iron World this time. I spent like 30 orbs as well. But am I good? Like am I satisfied with 29 attack, or should I just keep doing this?
HP.
I mean, 29 is more than I get on most runs, so.
Yeah. I mean, and I agree, Muspel. I've been trying to go for defensive stats, but they're just not happening. It's horrible.
I got another rainbow.
Oh, what? Why are you still pulling? Stop it!
I have like 250 tickets. Okay, I got Palamon Bar.
Only 250. You need to improve that stat, Muspel.
Yeah. So listen, guys, I have 385 lapis and 0 tickets. Just want to put that out there.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So let's get back to reality for a second.
Well, everybody pulling. I think this is a good time to talk about the because Omniprism in practice and in like what do people think about it? It's just another avenue of UOC basically, except we can use it unlimited.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because it's 10k lapis, and if it was just the Omniprism, I probably wouldn't have got. But it had a bunch of other things with it that were pretty nice otherwise. And I don't really pull unlimited banners. I just don't ever do it unless it's a recurring one, like a holiday one that I like. But this one's just nice to have in your pocket. I mean, at the end of the day, it's at least worth 8 UOCs, and it was, a good price. And apparently they're going to be doing it more in the future as well, according to the news. So I think overall it's a pretty solid deal. You get a few rainbows for free, and you get a prism, at least in Bharos' case, to awaken Sayaka as soon as he could possibly log on. He was furiously logging on just to get that stupid thing.
Yeah, it was like the longest maintenance of my life. And Wow, I am so happy for this bundle. Okay, I actually didn't know they had this in JP, so this was a big surprise. I was just creeping a bit, as I usually do on maintenance days, in the wiki channel, and then people were talking about Omniprison. I'm like, Omniprison, that sounds interesting. What is this thing? And I asked the question, like, hey, can you use this to, like, awaken any unit that you have that's 6-star? And then, like, yeah, that's how it works. Oh my god, I literally came into my pants. Like, because my big problem with the Valentine's banner was that I was actually going for Sayaka. But I got 2 big hearts. Big hearts an amazing unit. It served so well since. But I wanted the Sayaka. That's what I wanted. And now I have her. And I'm so happy. Also, one thing to add, Hazard. I feel it's a bit better than the 8 UOCs because you can actually use it on units that don't have UOCs. Or so, like limited units.
And that really is the use for it. Like, I don't think you should use it on a non-limited unit because you can UOC their prism.
Exactly.
That's why I said it's at least, at worst, it's 8 UOCs. But obviously, you're going to use it on a limited unit, obviously.
And I also like it. You know what? Because limited banners are shit. We all know that, and that's why I never pull on them. But... but... see, this actually does give the casual player some incentive to pull on a limited banner. In fact, I would like to see non-bundle ways, okay, super grindy ways, but still non-bundle ways of actually scoring an Omniprism maybe once per year or whatever.
Didn't they have that in JP? I'm pretty sure they have that in JP where it's like the 100,000 EP reward for MK is like an Omniprism. So it's like...
oh, really?
I think they gave one out for anniversary or something. I forget.
Yeah, they gave one out for anniversary.
The first one was free for anniversary, so we've actually got them sort of introduced a bit early. And I think the Omni one might be like a top Dark Visions like event point milestone, just as vague memory.
But I mean, it helps you pull. Okay, so nobody needs help pulling on limited banners. We all know that's a terrible idea. But it does help you pull on limited banners because now if you have one of these in your pocket or you know they are gonna come, maybe they're like a thing that you can buy monthly or bi-monthly, then then it's okay that you pulled one unit only of this limited banner because you can fix it. Has been grinding my gears for so long in this game because I have the biggest, shittiest collection of one copy of a 6-star limited unit in the fucking world. And now it's not going to be a problem anymore. Like, I'm waiting for another...
Well, if you stopped pulling on limited units, you wouldn't have that problem.
I know. The only limited unit I have on accident is Fu. I got Fu on accident on a 5+1 during that stupid banner, and I'm pissed off and I want to delete him. Every other one I have is 7-star or nothing.
But now you don't have to. Like, now there's Omniprisms. In fact, I'm waiting for the next Omniprism bundle so I can 7-star my Carton, so I can STMR his ass and give it to Edel.
If I Omniprism a 7-star to make a 7-star Fu, you know my account's been hacked.
So for me, I thought I liked this bundle and I bought it because Gumi has a tendency to really powerful, time-limited global exclusive tanks. And like Lucas or AI Katie, or back in the day it was Chow, although that was pre-7-star. Nowadays he's a lot less impressive. I'm sorry, Cotton. White Knight Noel.
Well, everyone's layering on the bully train today, aren't they?
Yeah, really. You guys are terrible.
In the past, when I pulled for these units, I've gotten them, but I know I've been lucky. And having this as in my back pocket as bad luck protection is really nice.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. It's just, I really hope that they find a way to make better collab units. Even one of the issues with collaboration units or limited time units is that if it's a DPS, you're limited to you're always wanting a dupe. And if you want a dupe, that means you need to go above and beyond finding friends with that dupe. Now, Xuan has been a bit of an outlier in this because literally everyone pulled for that stupid unit.
I have no idea why.
Yeah,
I have no idea why anyone
because
pulled
they're
for that
incredibly overpowered.
I know, but they're so stupid looking.
I know. The double units, they need to stop with that shit.
It's really awful.
The other thing is that once...
We're getting a lot of double units coming down the pipeline.
I know,
and that sucks.
It sucks.
So apparently data says people pull for double units.
I know, you guys, please stop. Stop encouraging
Muspel.
this idiocy. Yeah, I blame Muspel. Basically, I was saying
I
earlier...
don't pull on collabs typically. I pull for the seasonal units.
If I don't like a unit, guaranteed it's on Muspel's team.
I'm trying to think. The only collaboration unit that I pulled for was AI Katie. I don't think I've pulled for any others.
And Lucas.
Just not very impressive.
And Lucas.
Lucas
And
is,
Lucas is seasonal.
seasonal. He's not
Seasonal.
collaboration.
And seasonal is actually technically much safer because we do get rerun banners. So far, we've always gotten a rerun banner on the next season.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I
we'll
take
get
that
that
back.
for CNY
I did
too,
pull
right?
for Deus Ex, which was not a good idea.
Why did you pull on Deus Ex?
I don't even remember. I think I wanted Adam Jensen's TM because I thought it was going to be really good.
Not
did
even
too,
I
actually.
pulled on that.
I pulled on that.
I
pulled
did
on
actually.
banner.
That was the last time I pulled an unlimited banner, and for good reason.
I actually quit after that because I didn't get Victor. I got Adam, but I didn't get Victor, so I quit.
I have one copy of a lot of limiteds because there was a time when I was doing daily pulls. This is before they introduced step-ups. And I got so many limited units just off of daily pulls. And it's awful because they all suck now. I have Rayjack, I have Dragon Lord, I have Rico Rodriguez. I'm trying to think.
Oh, he's coming.
Yeah, Riku's gonna get a 7-star.
Yeah, I'll
any
use
day
that
now.
Omniprism on him. It'll be totally worth it.
Yeah.
Remember when they gave out two Tomb Raider, what's that called, Laura Crofts?
Yeah.
I still use them for my
yeah.
story event team, honestly.
Yeah, same
And
here.
I still have Dressy, not Explorer Aileen. I'm just still hoping for it.
I finally threw away my my Rayjack Moogle TM. I have 100% Moogle sitting there for years. I finally threw it away yesterday. So it's coming back.
And you know how you keep saying I do have terrible decision-making skills? So the other day I was just frustrated and I coined my 2 Explorer Aileens. Just saying.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's not really such a bad decision. Like,
Yeah, and they have said that she's not coming back.
Did they confirm that? Like, confirm?
I think
I
she
don't
was one
think
of
so.
the confirmed ones.
I mean, depends on what you mean by confirm.
Some of them were directly as to not be coming back.
As
That
you know, you
would
can always
be
trust what
the-
videos say, because they've never screwed up. But it's probably safer than most, I would say. Safer than most.
and then next week we get another Tomb Raider event.
I just don't understand, like, it costs 1 unit slot. There's no good reason to really get rid of them. So if there's a small chance. All right, that's all we have this week for the Global Exclusive Podcast team. See you guys next week. Enjoy your Rikus, or hopefully you got a lot of pain.
Not bad, not bad.